good evening. Welcome to the session, all of you. Hi guys, hi. I see your messages. A very good evening, guys. Welcome to the session. I hope everyone is doing good. Yeah, and let me know something. How many of you here are from class 10? Class 10 CBSE. How many of you are from class 10 CBSE? Yes, many. So how were your midterms? How did you do your midterm? Went well? Yeah? And the students from class 9 CBSE, what about your half yearly or midterm exams? Went well? That's good. That's good. And I guess in some of the schools it is still happening, right? And for those who still did not do your exams, all the very best, do it well. Well guys, let me introduce myself. If you have already attended my master classes before, you must be knowing me. But then for those who are here in the class for the first time, this is Dr. Nasma from Vedantu, chemistry expert, and I have been teaching from past 6.5 years of time. Well, I had been researching before these 6.5 years, but later I entered teaching because I'm really passionate about it. Well, why are we here today? You all know the reason, right? We are here today to talk about a very important topic of class 10 CBSE, carbon and its compounds. But before we could start about anything else in the class, let me ask you some questions. How many of you are doing this chapter currently in your schools? How many of you have started with this chapter? That's good number, right? Yes, well, and how many of you have already done this? Maybe in your tuitions or some of the schools, you know, they complete the portions really quick, really early, so that they can allot a lot of time for your revision. Yeah, so let me know if you are already done with this chapter. Done? By the way, if there are somebody from class 9 or class 8 or whatever, you do not need to think that, oh, this is especially from class 10 syllabus. It's fine, because this chapter is such important that if you learn it now, it will be useful to you later. Okay, so do not worry, you're going to learn something out of the session. Done? That's great. And I know rest of you, those who haven't done it, those who are not right now doing it in the school, have not done still, right? You will be doing it in the future. Well, that's fine. The reason I asked you this question is, if you are already in touch with this chapter, you must know how important it is, isn't it? Do you think this chapter is important? Okay, tell me how many of you think this is important. You tell me your opinion. You tell me your perspective. Do you think this is really important chapter or okay kind of chapter? Is it important? Okay, those who are saying it is important, tell me why is it important? Meanwhile, let me tell you something. I see many attendees, but then coming to the number of students who are responding continuously, the ratio doesn't match. So if you're just looking at the screen, staring at my face, you're not going to learn anything. Yeah. So make sure you're a little active. Make sure you tell me your answers as well. Done? Very good. And those who are answering, guys, doing very good. But I'm really sorry, I'll not be able to take out all your names because as you see, it's just the flood of responses, right? Yeah, that's good. Some of you say that this chapter is important because of marks in terms of weightage in exam point of view. And very few of you have mentioned about organic chemistry. You know what? Carbon and its compounds is one such important chapter which is directly connected to organic chemistry. In class 11 and 12, if you are continuing with sciences and chemistry, you will have a huge chunk to study by name organic chemistry. You must have heard about this topic, right? If you have your elder siblings or somebody, right? This is the basic for organic chemistry. If you learn this chapter perfectly and if you're very strong in carbon and its compounds, you are going to conquer that chapter there. Yeah, so it's very important, not only in terms of organic chemistry learning, but also in terms of your exam point of view. You will have a good weightage coming from this chapter for your board exams. So of course, it's clear that this chapter is important and it is essential that you learn this chapter. Well, some of you said that you're doing it in the school, you already have done it in the school, right? So now you tell me, how many of you find it a little hard or very hard, difficult to remember, not interesting, not exciting kind of thing, you can be honest enough and your ideology gives me an insight on what kind of points should be covered in today's class. Okay, so make sure you be honest enough here. Yeah, done. So tell me how many of you find this chapter hard, tough, not interesting, not exciting, any negative stuff. I knew this. Okay, fine. Coming to one specific topic in this chapter, IUPAC Nomenclature. How many of you find this topic a little hard? Let me put it straight ahead. How many of you want to learn IUPAC naming or IUPAC nomenclature in today's class in an easy way? How many of you want to learn? Just tell me. If you have seen my other master classes, I always go with the wish of the students. So make sure you tell me honestly if you want to learn this chapter. Do you want to learn this chapter now? Yes? Yes? Very good. Very good. In this chapter, we are going to talk about IUPAC nomenclature because I see enough number of students who require this topic to be learned. Okay? So in today's class, let's talk about IUPAC nomenclature. Yeah? Good. And let us understand the steps to name any molecule in brief and in short. Later, let us also practice some questions. Okay? And if you really want to learn this topic, you want to have some benefit achieved because you are spending this 45 minutes or 60 minutes of your time here. Make sure you have a pen and paper with you. You make a note of every important point that you see in the notes, that you see coming in the session. Later, you also need to be active enough and be answering the questions through the chat box, whichever I'm asking. Okay, done. Shall we start learning IUPAC nomenclature? Shall we start? Very good, very good. Yes, so now let me take you to one empty page which has just the title, but then let me ask you something. From then I'm saying that IUPAC. What do you think this IUPAC is? You see here as well, right? Let me move myself to one corner of the screen. Yeah, you see something here, IUPAC. What do you think this IUPAC is? You can give your answers through the chat box always. And as I told you just before a while, be active, be spontaneous. Yeah, IUPAC is. That's nice set of responses. And most of you are going right as well. Most of you are going correct. That's good. That's good. IUPAC is. That's nice. But some of you have gone wrong. That's perfectly fine. Guys, you know what? This all organic molecules, all organic molecules, all inorganic molecules, all the chemicals in chemistry. They used to be named once upon a time. They used to be named based on random resources, which was pretty confusing and not standardized method. And as the time passed, there came up one union called as IUPAC, which undertakes naming of all the chemicals, all the molecules in the universe. Any new thing synthesized, any new element or compound or any molecule, any chemical, any medicine, that has to be named according to the rules and regulations of IUPAC. And this IUPAC can be expanded as International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So some of the students would have a doubt that is it applicable for organic, inorganic, physical, general chemistry? Yes, it is applicable for any set of chemistry. It's not only for carbon and its compounds, it's also for other branches. You're not learning it at the level of class 10 CBSE, but you will learn it when you go to your higher grades. Yeah, so remember, it's for pure and applied chemistry, IUPAC. So this union has given some set of rules and regulations in order to name the organic molecules, inorganic molecules, drugs, medicines, in short, any chemicals. Right, guys? So IUPAC is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Done? Right? So today we are going to learn how to name the organic molecules or carbon molecules based on IUPAC rules. I hope everyone is ready. Yes? Very good. And these questions, the questions which I'm going to ask you right now, are for the ones who have done it in the school or who are doing it in the school. Yeah. So guys, can you please tell me, what does this IUPAC name consist of? I mean, what is there in the name? What are the rules, or what flashes in your mind the moment I say IUPAC naming? Quickly, quickly. I know you must be spending some time in typing, right? Because it's a lengthy answer. What flashes in your mind the moment I say IUPAC? For example, if I say chemistry, usually what comes into mind is the reactions, the lab apparatus and all that, right? Yeah. So that way IUPAC, organic molecules. Okay. It's all about naming. That's perfect. But you know what this IUPAC name has? It has some parts. It has some components. Like, you know, your name has your first name and the last name, and some of us also have a middle name, isn't it? Different components of the name. Same is the case with organic molecules also. I say organic molecules because we are today talking about organic molecules. Okay. But otherwise IUPAC is also for inorganic molecules. Please keep this in your mind. Done? I repeatedly say organic because right now we are talking about organic. Clear? Yes? So I was saying that IUPAC name has some components, some parts. Like our name has first name, middle name, last name, IUPAC name also has some components. Can anyone in the class tell me the components of IUPAC name? Can you tell me what an IUPAC name is comprised of? What is this composed of? Quickly. Are still the number of students watching this video and the number of students who are replying on the chat is not tallying. Huh? That means you're just trying to stare at my face on the screen. But guys, until unless you participate, until unless you don't be active in the class, you will not learn stuff easily. Yeah. So make sure you give your try. You don't need to be extremely correct in your answers, but give your try. Done. And I appreciate the ones who are mentioning it as root word, functional groups, etc. That's really good. IUPAC name majorly has 4 components. Done. It has how many components? 4 components. I'll tell all those 4 in the order, the way we place it in the name. For example, take our names only. The order will be your first name, middle name, last name, right? It can't be the middle name, last name and first name. There is a systematic order. If our names have that systematic order, we're talking about some rules and regulations of IUPAC. We're talking about one extremely standardized method of naming, correct? That will obviously have a perfect order. And I'm going to tell you in the same order. Please keep it in mind, okay? So in order to name the carbon compounds according to IUPAC rules, we have to follow this order of naming. We have to follow the system of naming. Any IUPAC name at the beginning will be consisting of prefix. What is prefix? Prefix. What do you understand from the term prefix? You know what? Every word that comes in chemistry is almost all the times self-understood. As in, if you observe the word, if you observe the components of the word, you will get an idea about what is it talking of, right? Like homogeneous, heterogeneous, homolytic, heterolytic. You know, like they are self-explanatory. Same is the case here. Prefix. Pre in the sense before, fix in the sense placed. Placed before what? Placed before what? It is placed before root word. You know what? This root word, you can consider this to be the most important part of IUPAC name. You can call it as the heart of IUPAC name. Okay? So let me move myself to other corner. Yeah? IUPAC name has 4 components, of which first one in the order is prefix. Second one is root word. Root word is extremely important. It's like the heart of the name. Followed by saturation. Do not worry about the terminology. I'm going to explain each and everything in detail. Okay. So saturation, the ones who have done this chapter or doing this chapter in the class must have an idea about alkanes, alkenes, kinds, right? Single bonds, double bonds, and triple bonds, right? Covalent bonding, etc., etc., right? So saturation talks about type of bonding that is present in the given molecule. And later, suffix. Usually what is suffix? Suffix is something which comes at the end of the name or end of any representation. Even here suffix is the end of the name, right? So an IUPAC name has 4 important parts. Part 1, prefix. Part 2, root word. 3, saturation of the molecule. And 4 is suffix. There are how many important parts? 4. I want to see all of you saying how many components. IUPAC name has 4 components. 4 components, right? But before we could step ahead from this point, I would like to give you a disclaimer. Whatever you are learning in today's class about IUPAC naming is only till the level of class 10 CBSE. We are not exceeding that boundary because this class is especially till class level, not for the ones who are beyond it. By this what I mean is we're not going to talk about them very in detail. You know, these rules have branches, sub-branches, exceptions, everything. But we are talking according to the syllabus lining of class 10 CBSE. Okay, done? Shall we go ahead? Yes? Ready? I want to see you active. Yes? Very good, very good. Coming back. As I already have told you, prefix is something which is placed before root word. And that's cool, let it be placed before root word. But then the point is, what does it represent? Coming back to our names, usually our last name is the family name, right? If you are a South Indian, you would place last name as your family name. Maybe the place wherever your ancestors rise from or whatever, right? Do you relate it to? Like, I'll give you some more examples like Verma, Sood, Sethi, correct? Khan. These all are last names. They indicate your family, they indicate your vansh, etc. Correct? Yeah? And what does your first name indicate? It's your name, right? It's you, your name. Correct? Are you relating to what am I saying? The same is the case with IUPAC as well. In IUPAC, there are 4 components. Each component has its own significance. It gives up its own information about the molecule. Okay, done. So now the prefix part of the IUPAC name signifies what? It signifies 2 things. But before you could know those 2 things, you need to know what root word is. Okay. So now I'm not going according to the order, but I'm going according to the importance. So let us know about the root word before we could go to the suffix part, sorry, prefix part. Okay. So root word, what does it indicate? It talks about the total number of carbon atoms present in the molecule. For example, if you are trying to write IUPAC name of one molecule, root word is that component of the IUPAC name which talks about the total number of carbon atoms present in that molecule. Done? You call it as root word. What is root? Root is the important part of the plant. You study about it, right? It is the anchor of the plant, supplies water, nutrients from the ground. Isn't it very important? Yeah. Same is the case here. Root word is like the skeleton. It's the heart of the name. It's very important. You know what? You can't write an IUPAC name without root name. You can't. Root word is extremely important. If it is there, name is there. If it is not there, IUPAC name doesn't exist. You will understand these statements better when we take an example and discuss about it. Okay? Going ahead. Now coming to prefix. What does this prefix indicate? Let me ask you guys, because some of you are already in touch with this chapter. Can you tell me what is prefix? What is prefix? Quickly, quickly. We have only 1 hour of time, right? So make it fast, quickly. What is prefix? Prefix is? Okay, what I mean by that is, what does prefix signify? What information does it give? Did you study about the functional groups in this chapter? Did you? Yes? Functional groups. We study about only 5 functional groups in the syllabus of class 10 CBSE, but in fact there are more than 16 types, right? We talk about alcohol, aldehyde, ketone, halo group, double, triple bonds, correct? We also talk about ester at the end of the chapter. These all are called as functional groups, the very active reacting sites of any molecule, isn't it? So prefix, it implies or it signifies the number of carbon atom on which the functional group is present. For example, in the entire molecule that you have, maybe take this example, CH3, CH2, CHCl, CH3. In this entire molecule, on which carbon atom do you have the functional group? First of all, the functional group is chlorine, right? Halo group. Which carbon atom is consisting of functional group here? That number is written in prefix. Like you might have seen this kind of names, right? 2-chloromethane or 2-chloropropane, 2-bromo. Remember that number 2, 3, 1. Those all are the number of the carbon atom, whichever is consisting of that functional group. And if there is no functional group, we can also talk about a double bond or triple bonds presence. Okay. So prefix is what? It talks about the number of carbon atom, whichever is consisting of functional group, double bond or triple bond. This is one significance of prefix. Okay. Done. There is a second significance as well. Take it as one. The second one is prefix in some cases also talks about the name of the functional group. Okay, name of the functional group. You know, like chloromethane, 1-chloropropane. Remember this kind of names? Yeah, one number is okay. Chloro is the functional group, right? So you're talking about the functional group also in the first, in the initial status of the name. You call it as prefix only. Anything that comes before root word is prefix. So prefix can give you two informations about the molecule that you're talking of. One is the number of carbon atom, whichever is possessing the functional group, and the later one, second one, is the name of the functional group. But remember, name of the functional group, all the names cannot be used here. There are only some functional groups according to the rules of IUPAC which can be represented as the prefix, and you will understand it later when you study the functional group. Okay, so root word is what, guys? What does root word signify? Come on, quickly. Root word signifies what? It signifies the total number of carbon atoms present. And later, what does a prefix signify? Prefix signifies, very good, it signifies the carbon, the number of carbon atom which has functional group or a double bond or a triple bond, and in some cases it may also talk about the functional group it is present in the molecule. Done? Are we going good? Are you able to understand? Yes? Good. Let's go with the next one. Saturation. What is the saturation? It is nothing but what type of bonds does the molecule have? Is it having all single bonds? Saturated molecule. If it is having double bonds, unsaturated, triple bonds also unsaturated. But if you remember, we spoke about 3 types of hydrocarbons. We spoke as if you are done with the chapter in the school, you might have learnt about 3 types, right? Alkanes, alkenes, right? Alkynes. What are these? See, I have given space between them. You should not give it actually. I have given because I want you to notice this end part of these names. Anes contain all single bonds. Enes contain at least one double bond. Ines contain at least one triple bond. You know, the saturation. If the molecule that you are going to name has all single bonds, write it as ane in this part. You know, if it has at least one double bond, what do you write it as? At least one double bond. What do we call it as? Quickly. Very good. We call it as E. At least one triple bond. At least one triple bond. I. Okay. So we don't write it as alkane. We just write it as ane. We write it as E and we write it as I. Okay. Is this clear? Right. Saturation is the place or the component of IUPAC name which talks about the nature of bonding in the molecule. If the molecule has all single bonds or all double bonds, at least one double bond or at least one triple bond. Are we clear with this? Right? Isn't it the most simple part of the name? Yeah? Just look at the bonds and tell it. Right? Later. Let's go to suffix now. Shall we? Hey guys, are you making note of all the important points? Are you? Yeah? Yes? Let me tell you, NCERT doesn't give you the naming in the same way that you are learning here. This is the simplest way that is possible. Okay? Later part is suffix. What is suffix? Suffix, end of the name, last name. What does it talk about? It talks about functional group. Alright? I said prefix also talks about functional group. Na? Then why am I saying again functional group here? Do you remember the condition that I said? All the functional groups cannot be represented in prefix. Only few. What about rest? Have to be represented in suffix. Usually, the rule is functional group should be at the suffix. But there are some exceptional special cases where you can place the functional group at the prefix part. What are those special cases? Case 1. If you have two functional groups in the same molecule, then you can place one functional group at the prefix, second one at the suffix. Case 2. There are some functional groups which have two options, like which can be represented either at prefix or at suffix. You know, like chloro. You can write chloro group in the prefix or in the suffix. They're two specially treated. Okay? Right? So now we are talking about the components of IUPAC naming. I will summarize one more time and then I'll ask you some questions. Okay? Right? I'm summarizing it right now. Please listen to this carefully. IUPAC, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, is a union which undertakes naming of all the molecules in chemistry. And right now in this chapter, we are talking about carbon molecules or carbon compounds. And IUPAC naming for carbon compounds will have 4 components in it, of which one is prefix, which signifies the number of carbon atom which has functional group, double bond or triple bond. Otherwise, sometimes based on the type of functional group that we have, prefix can also signify the functional group's name. Root word, the very important part of the name, represents total number of carbon atoms. If the molecule has 10 atoms, 5 atoms or 100 atoms, it is represented in the root word. Saturation, if the molecule has double bonds, single bonds, triple bonds, what kind of bonds is represented in saturation. Suffix, the name of the functional group, is represented in suffix. These are the 4 components of IUPAC naming. Are we clear so far? Are we clear? Yeah? I want to see your answers, please. Are we clear and going good? Right? So very good. And now, as a brief for those who have not done the chapter in the school, let me just give you a brief idea about root word. Okay? Done about the prefix as well. So what is root word? I said I'll ask you some questions. Here is the question. What is root word? Quickly guys, what is root word? Let me see who answers. Already answering. Root word. It's like the root of the plant, right? Root word. Very good guys. Very good. Good to see most of you following the class. Root word signifies presence of total number of carbon atoms in the molecule. What if your molecule has only one carbon atom? What if the molecule has only one carbon? What is the root word? The root word has to be, come on quickly, the root word has to be meth. 2 carbon atoms. Root word is eth. 3 carbon atoms. Quickly, let me see who answers it. Prop. 4 carbon atoms. But. 6 carbon atoms, please. I know you will inflow answer for 5 carbon atoms. Some of you said pent, but I asked for 6 carbon atoms, which is hex. So this way, based on the number of carbon atoms that are present in the molecule, we have to pick the root word. I'll give you an example so that you understand it better. Okay. So what is the name of the molecule? CH4. How many carbon atoms do you have? Can you count and tell me? Can you count and tell me the total carbon atoms in CH4? Or anybody can say it, right? It is only one carbon. If you have one carbon, which root word should you choose? I guess Higgs, right? Should I choose Higgs? We have to choose meth. That's a rule, right? So the root word for this molecule is meth. Okay, I'll give you some molecules. You have to tell me the root word now. Ready? Ready? Fine. Tell me root word for this. Root word for this molecule. CH3, CH2, CH3. Quickly. That's good. That's good. Many of you are going good. Very glad to see most of you answering right, Bachu. Very good. Very good. 1, 2, 3. 3 carbon atoms is prop. So root word is prop. Okay. C6H6. Tell me root word. Okay. Don't go over the structure. In fact, the molecule is called as benzene. But just look at the number of carbon atoms. 6 carbons, so X. But it's not, named as hexane and all that. Forget about it. Yeah. Now, CH3, CH2 taken twice, CH3. Can you tell me how many carbon atoms are present here? I want to see how many of you will go correct with this question. See, this is the question. This is the question. Okay. CH3, CH2 taken twice, CH3. Some of you are saying 3, but it is 4. Nah? I appreciate the ones who has got it right. 1 plus 1, 2. But do you see this? The carbon is multiplied 2 times. That means 4 carbon atoms totally. But is the answer. So this way we have to find the root word by counting the total number of carbon atoms present in the molecule. Right, guys? So clear with the root word? Shall we go on? Shall we? Yes, and moreover, one more thing, for those who have a little confusion or, for those who have not done this chapter at the school, I would also like to brief prefix, suffix and functional group. Okay, so what is the functional group? What is the functional group? The most active part of any molecule, which is extremely reactive, which determines the chemical properties of the molecule. Correct? As I said before, there are more than 5 types of functional groups, but we study about only 5 right now. Okay? The first one, those who have done already in the school, tell me what is the first one? Tell me one functional group. There is no particular order. One is alcohol. Right? The chemical formula of alcohol is OH. Correct? Now, if you are naming a molecule which contains alcohol, like CH3OH, you don't need to write alcohol at the end of the name of the molecule. You don't need to. Why? Because the naming has to follow the rules of IUPAC, right? According to rules of IUPAC, you can't write the full name. Then what can you write? You can write the short forms. What are the short forms? For alcohol, the short form is OL, all. And alcohol always should be represented in the suffix. So, if you are writing this alcohol in the IUPAC name, at the end of the name, there should be OL. Hold on. I know you are a little confused. I'll give you an example. Okay? Take CH3OH only. IUPAC name of any molecule should have a root word for sure. What is the root word? Because one carbon atom, it has to be meth. Right? It's an alcohol, so should I write it as meth alcohol? We can't, right? Well, just now I said the short forms of functional groups only should be written. What is the short form of alcohol? All. OL, all. Where should it be written? In the suffix. Suffix comes. Does suffix come at the beginning of the name? At the starting of the name or something? Where does it come? At the end of the name. So, at the end of this name, OL. All. Then what is this? Meth all. Is it? It's not meth all. Let me take you back. What is there before suffix? You have saturation. What is saturation? The type of bonds present. You have to choose ane, ene or ine, one among these 3 based on what type of bonds do you have. So now CH3 obviously has all single bonds. That means you have to choose A, right? But always remember, out of this saturation, the last vowel have to be removed. Like E has to be cut down. Then it is methane. E is cut down on methanol, right? So name of this molecule is methanol. This way, let's talk about more functional groups and practice questions as well. Okay. So now if you have aldehyde, suffix al, right? Ketone. Those who have not done the chapter in the school, do not worry, you will learn it now. Yeah. One, ketone. Halo group. What is halo group? It could be either chlorine, bromine, fluorine or iodine. Okay? Yeah. And at the end, if it is chlorine, it has to be chloride. Bromine, bromide. Iodine, iodide. Fluorine, fluoride. Okay? Done. This is what is functional group. This is what is written in the suffix. And then what is prefix? Usually the number of carbon wherever this is. Now let me take you back to IUPAC naming and brief you one more time. Okay? Ready? Once we have a brief discussion on this, there will go practice some example questions. Okay? Done? So well guys, come back. IUPAC name has 4 components. First one prefix, second one root word, third one saturation, fourth one is suffix. Each of this component has the significance as written on the screen. Root word, we just before a while have written what root word should be picked for which carbon count, isn't it? Yeah, these are the components of IUPAC rule. Before we could go ahead with naming the molecules using IUPAC, let me tell you something. There are some more rules, like I said total number of carbon atoms. What if you have a complicated branched chain? How do you count the number of carbon atoms? What if you have 2 functional groups in the same molecule? What if you have 1 functional group and 1 double bond? What if you have 3-4 double bonds in the same molecule? These all are cases. These all are different rules. So before you could go learn those all rules, it's important that you practice at the basic level, and we are going to practice that basic level right now. Okay? Ready for it? Yeah, don't go with these names right now. As I said, first we need to learn the basic stuff. Okay, ready for the names? Yes. So I'll write the molecule and I will explain you one molecule first, then I'll ask you questions. Okay, so the first molecule, say we are talking about CH3, CH, CH2, CHO, say you have C. Okay, I don't want to give you a complicated one at the beginning itself. So take a simple molecule this way. We have to name this molecule according to IUPAC now. How do we do that? IUPAC name has 4 components, right? Prefix, root word, saturation, and then suffix. First, focus on root word because that is extremely important. Root word is, what is root word by the way? Root word is total number of carbon atoms. Count the carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't it? Correct? 4 carbon atoms. What is the root word for 4 carbon count? Is it prop? Array. It's not prop. Do you see this? 4 is but. Correct? Now let's go back. But is the root word. Done. Later, saturation. That double bond or triple bond wala thing, right? Yeah. So can you look at the molecule and tell me if there is a double bond? Let me see how many of you are smart enough to answer this question. Is there a double bond on this molecule? If yes, say yes. If no, say no. How many of you say yes? How many of you say no? Is there a double bond in this molecule? Yes or no? Some of you say yes, I'm sure you are looking at this double bond, correct? But do you remember something? Alkanes, alkenes or alkynes are classified based on the bonding between 2 carbons. If you have a double bond between 2 carbons, that's when you have to consider. Do you have a double bond between two carbons in this molecule? This is oxygen, right? It's not considered. You can't consider a double bond between carbon and something else. If you have a double bond between two carbons, that's when you have to consider. Two carbons, a triple bond, considered. Carbon and an oxygen, it doesn't work. So, the molecule doesn't have any double bonds. What if it doesn't have a double bond? What is the saturation? What should we write in saturation? We should write E. But then according to the rules, we also have to cut this E. Correct? Yeah? But about this cutting, let's talk later. First, let us continue the naming. Ene is here. Later. What else? Suffix. Usually suffix will be representing the functional group. What is the functional group here? I already have marked it, right? CHO, aldehyde. Aldehyde is the functional group. So should I write aldehyde here? Can I write aldehyde here? No, it's not. It doesn't work, right? According to the rules of IUPAC, what should be written if you have an aldehyde? You should write al, al, correct? Now, time for prefix. What is prefix? You have to talk about the carbon on which you have functional group. Which carbon do you have functional group on? The right hand side carbon. Can we write it as right hand side carbon here? You have to give a number. Okay? Number, can I write it as 1, 2, 3, 4? Can I? No, we can't. Why? There comes a very important rule. Make a note of it. Whenever you are numbering carbon atoms, make sure you number in such a way that the carbon atom containing functional group comes first. If not first, comes second. The least possible numbering should be given to the carbon containing functional group. So here, this is the carbon. The least number that I can give is 1. I can start counting from right hand side to left hand side. It's okay if you count from right to left or left to right. That works. But make sure you're counting in such a way that the carbon with functional group gets the least value assigned. Are we clear with this point? Are we clear with this point? How should we number the carbon atoms? We should number in such a way that the carbon containing what? The carbon containing functional group should be getting the least value assigned. So this is first, this is second, this is third, and this is fourth. Right? That means on which carbon atom do I have functional group? 1. Isn't it? Yeah? Okay, fine. 1. That's good. But then, let me tell you something. Other than on 1, is it possible you have it on any other carbon? It's possible, right? You can also have the same on third carbon. Isomers are possible. For the molecules whichever may have isomers, it's important you write it. Okay? So it is 1. Now let me compile all these 4 parts. 1, but, ene, al. Am I right? Do you find anything to be corrected here? I'm giving you one more chance. Anything to be corrected here? What did I say? The double bond between which carbons or which atoms can be considered? Nobody told me. Some of you told me. Very good. So, the double bond here is between carbon and oxygen, which can't be counted. So, it has to be ane. It can't be ene, right? It has to be ane. And if it is ane, you can cut this E according to rules of IUPAC. After compiling, it is 1 but, ane, al. 1 butanol, right? This is the name of the molecule, 1 butanol. 2 things that you should be very cautious about is identifying double bonds. Is 1. The second one is, remember you have to cut down this E. You are taking ane or ene or ine. When you compile, you have to cut down the last E. Done? Now, let me tell you something. There could be molecules without functional group. It's okay. Let's take one example to understand it. CH3, CH2, CH3. Let's name this. Quickly guys, prefix, root word, suffix, before that saturation. Yeah, tell me, what is the root word? How many carbon atoms do we have? 1, 2, 3 carbon atoms. So prop, isn't it? Now, saturation, definitely all single bonds, A-N-E. Suffix, Do you see a functional group in this molecule? Do you? No suffix, so it's fine, it's chill, forget about it if it is not there. When you don't have a suffix, when you don't have a functional group, will you have a prefix? You don't have a functional group, can you talk about the carbon which consists of functional group? No, so no prefix as well. So you have only prop-ane. Whenever you don't have a functional group or a suffix, you don't need to cut down this E. You have to cut it down only when you are continuing with suffix. Okay? So it's fine if you don't have a prefix for some molecules, and it's fine if you don't have a suffix as well. Okay? But remember, root word should be there. Saturation also should be there. Those two are very important parts, right? So guys, we are talking about what? We are talking about IUPAC nomenclature, the components of IUPAC naming, prefix, root word, suffix, and saturation and suffix. Prefix and suffix may or may not be there, but root word and saturation will be there. Okay? But as I told you, there are many rules. One rule which we have discussed so far is about the least count rule. Assign the numbering of the carbon atoms in such a way that carbon containing the functional groups gets the least possible value. There are many more rules. Before we could go discuss that, let's practice more on it. Ready for some more examples? Yes. I'll give you the molecule and I want the name from you. Yes? Ready? Okay, the next one. CH3, CH2, 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 Cl. Let me see who would answer this first. It's a very simple molecule, you know. I'm giving you simple molecules because this is the first step of learning IUPAC. Yeah, we have a mixture of students, those who have learnt it already, who are learning it for the first time, right? So, some of you are trying good, being quick enough, that's really nice. I give you instructions for those who are stuck, nothing to worry. Follow the instructions. What are the four components? Prefix, root word, saturation, suffix. First thing, root word. 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon atoms. So, but. Then is what? Suffix. Functional group should be identified. Yes, I identified. Correct? What is the functional group? Chloro. If chloro is the functional group, suffix should be chloride. Correct? Chloride. Saturation, as usual, there are no double bonds, not even triple bonds. So, it has to be ANE. ane. Correct? Should it be E? It has to be ane, right? Well, and I have to cut it down because I'm continuing with suffix. Cut down E. What about the prefix? Where do I have the functional group? Do I have it on 4th carbon? I have done 1st carbon because I should count in such a way that the carbon containing functional group gets the least value assigned. So it is 1. Let me compile 1 butane chloride. Now, can you just tell me, if I don't write E here, does it make any sense? 1 butane chloride. Like, am I able to connect these two names, saturation and suffix? No, right? Remember the second rule. For chlorine, bromine, fluorine, iodine, you don't need to cut down E. Okay, this is the second one that you should remember. For these 4 groups, you don't need to cut. Why? The flow doesn't come. Even if you cut down, it doesn't have any meaning. So let it be. Then, what is it? 1 butane chloride is here also. 1 butane chloride. Otherwise, for these 4 functional groups, one more exception is you can also write them in prefix. How do you write them in prefix? 1 chloro. If it is prefix, it has to be chloro. 1 chloro butane. Right? 1 chloro butane is the prefix. Right, guys? So now, what did we learn in this example? Whenever you have halo group, chloro, bromo, fluoro, iodo, you don't need to cut down E after saturation. Otherwise, you can also write the functional group as a part of prefix because it has that exceptional special case. I hope you all remember. There are some functional groups which can be written either in prefix or in suffix. This is one such. Done? One more example. Ready for one more example? Yeah? Let me take a fresh page. I'll write the example. CH3, CH2, CH, CH2, CH3. Not chloro again. I'll give you something else. Oh, I'll give you something else. Okay. So there you go. I'll not tell you what is this functional group because you know it, right? So try to name this functional group and tell me the name quickly. Meanwhile, guys, let me just ask you something. Did you understand what happened in the class so far? Did you understand whatever has happened in the class so far? Yes? Yeah? Did you understand what is IUPAC? And let me tell you, this IUPAC nomenclature, whichever you have learned today, it's just maybe 20 to 30% of actual IUPAC. Yeah, we just have learned the first step. There are many rules, many branchings in the rules, many subtopics and all. We have discussed the first level. There is a second level which you need to do for class 10 CBSE I'm talking of. Yeah. So till now, are we clear with the basic? Are we? Yes. Do you remember whatever we have discussed in the class? Name this molecule there. And one more thing, if you're planning to learn the entire syllabus of class 10 CBSE in a perfect way, in a simple way, as we have done IUPAC in today's class, I have a news for all of you, and that is Vedantu is launching a fast track long-term course for class 10 CBSE wherein you'll get a chance to get all the syllabus done from excellent teachers of the industry and all the syllabus of class 10 CBSE. The course is going to be started very soon. I'll just give you the course link if you want more information about it. I'll write the link here. It is vdnt.in/CBSE crash. Okay, this is the course link. Once you click on it, you will be redirected to a page, and there you will get all the information about the course, the timetable, teachers, whoever is teaching you, and everything else related to the course. And you know what? Just because you have attended this webinar and had been there till the end, if you click on the link now, right now, you will be having a lightning deal active over there. And that lightning deal will get you the course at a far away reduced price than the actual price. And the lightning deal price should be around 1999 or something like that. Yeah. So the course link is also being posted into the chat box right now. Yeah. I hope you all see it there. And I'm writing the 1999. This is the lightning deal price. Okay, so you can click on the link. You will be redirected to the page wherein you get all the information about the best teachers who are going to teach you the entire syllabus of class 10 CBSE. You call it as CBSE fast track course or crash course, and you will get all the syllabus completed within the short period of time with more number of classes in the very simple way. And you know what, along with the classes you will also get the amazing content from Vedantu, like the test papers. When I say test, objective and subjective both. Along with that, the summary sheets, important questions, and the class notes. And the best part about this is, even if you miss a class, you can get the recorded version of the class which you can replay for n number of times. Yeah, so just click on the link, you will be redirected to the page. Meanwhile, I guess you have named that molecule which I have shown you. Yes, have you? Please let me know the name of the molecule in the comment section. Yes, I'll be waiting for your answer. And meanwhile, I repeat it, there are limited number of seats, and moreover, this is the lightning deal where you can get into this course. You can enroll yourselves into this course at just this price which you see on the screen, 1999, right? I would love to see you all in my sessions. By the way, I'll be taking chemistry for this course. Yeah, so I would love to see you all in my sessions, and I'll wait for your answer in the comment section. Right, guys, so I'll see you all in my classes. Good luck everyone. Good luck. Bye bye.